Welcome, and thank you for coming tonight to celebrate the life and to honor the memory of Matthew Naegeli. This evening and always, we celebrate an incredible young man, an incredible artist and musician, an incredible friend, colleague, teacher, and associate.
The arts were extremely important to Matthew as means of healing and educating, and supporting and promoting the arts is the best way that we could possibly honor his life.
In addition to schooling in New Mexico, he studied in London at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama and performed in Sweeney Todd at the Rose Theatre and in the off-West End musical Once Upon a Time at the Adelphi. I know we're all glad to see him land in San Diego. Matthew came into the theater scene here at the Welk Theater after driving from New Mexico to audition for South Pacific, and of course he was cast. He quickly became a staple in the San Diego theater scene, performing with many of you at theaters including Moonlight Stage Productions, SDMT, Signet, and with Vista Broadway and Premier Productions, as well as others.
As we listen to friends and colleagues talk about him tonight and share memories, let us never forget his spirit, his love, and his passion for family, friends, and the arts.
Please join us in the invocation in your bulletin where noted. Jen will bring up the house lights a bit so you can see that. Creator, God, Spirit, Energy, by whatever name we call you, we welcome your presence here this evening to celebrate the life of Matthew Naegeli. For his gift of love and joy, we thank you. For his gift of laughter, we remember and laugh. For his full and honest hugs, we will listen. For his time with us on this earth, we will always be grateful. We shall never die, for the spirit within us cannot change. Our life is hidden within the universe of love and light, and that light will shine. The spirit of eternity is within us, and the life of endless ages flows without change. The spirit of eternity is endlessly within us, and the life of endless age flows through our being. From eternity to eternity, our life flows along the way of peace and harmony.
Priceless blood has ransomed me. My For those of you that might not have known, that was one of Matt's favorite hymns that he had. Before I introduce myself, I would like to say thank you so much for coming to Matthew's memorial service. Each of you represents such a significant part of his life, and I know that he would be touched to know that you're all here. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Emmanuel Young, and I was a close friend of Matthew's. That being said, I had the opportunity to see some of the many hats that he wore. The list was truly endless. Actor, pianist, singer, director, voice teacher, worship leader, and sometimes a wannabe interior designer. Tonight I would like to share 3 of my favorite hats with you. Matthew as an actor, teacher, and musician. I hope that they bring you as much solace as they've brought me. Now, being an alumni of London's Royal Academy of Speech and Drama, acting and consequently theater were incredibly important to Matthew. He believed that theater had the ability to change people's lives, and he brought those beliefs with him every time he took the stage. It didn't take long for him to be adopted into San Diego's rich community of theater. Matthew's very first show in San Diego actually happened right here at the Welk Resort in South Pacific. During that production, myself and many other actors in San Diego began a professional relationship with Matthew. It was also during this production that we learned something else that he believed about theater. He felt that if we took theater too seriously, it would lose its freshness and its life. Consequently, that meant he enjoyed playing practical jokes backstage while never tampering with the integrity of a show. At the end of one particular matinee, Matthew seized a ripe opportunity to play a joke on us while we were waiting for a curtain call in our dressing room. Matthew had left the dressing room a bit early and closed the door on his way out. We didn't think anything of it and continued to wait for our cue for curtain call. When that moment came, I went to the door, turned the knob, and it wouldn't open. I started to panic, and I was like, "You guys, we can't get out. You guys, we can't get out." And every single guy in the ensemble proceeded to try and open the door without any success. So approximately 6 measures before we needed to be on stage, Matthew opens the door and sprints to the other side laughing. Needless to say, he was always a joy to perform with, as many of you know. In addition to being an actor, Matthew was also a voice teacher. He taught private lessons through B&H Music, as well as a group voice class at Georgia School of Dance. I'm sure that many of you who are students are quite fond of his analogies, particularly the one with the fan at the bottom of the well, with the 2 palm trees and the hammock and the slit down the middle of the hammock. Those always made lessons quite enjoyable. In college, Matthew studied music and then proceeded to get his master's degree in music theater. His singing ability was always remarkable, but his ability to teach singing was incredible. Personally, I always felt that he had such an intimate relationship with technique, and he strived for each of his students to have the same kind of relationship. He loved every single one of his students and was happiest when teaching because he truly felt that the pursuit of music made himself and made his students better people. His philosophy was not to make stars, but to encourage the sincerest of authenticity. For those of you that were his students, I hope that you continue to study music, but that you also strive for authenticity, because that's how our art changes lives. Matthew's final hat, and my personal favorite, is that of musician. Many of you know that Matthew was a fine pianist and played for various regional theater companies in San Diego. I know that I was not the only one who enjoyed watching and hearing him play. I believe his favorite production that he played while he was in San Diego was Cabaret at Palomar Community College. Kendra and Ed were among Matt's personal favorites, composers and lyricists, and his favorite show of theirs was Cabaret. And in that show, he played keyboard and accordion. He was quite ecstatic to be playing accordion for that show, because he had just learned how to play a few months before the show opened. I remember when he bought it, he called me and said, Manny, I'm near abject poverty, and I won't eat next month, but I need to buy this accordion. And I said, okay, where's the accordion? Where do you need to pick it up? And he said, it's in Los Angeles. And I said, okay. So after buying it, he invited me over to his house to see it, and I walked through the front door. And he had the accordion in his hand, and he let it open and breathe and said, "It's mine!" and played a few chords, because that's all he could do. Months later, he was overjoyed to be playing Cabaret, and consequently his new accordion. This is just one example of the joy that music brought him. It was infectious and thought-provoking, and made my love for music grow that much more. In closing, I hope that this eulogy provoked fond memories that you may have had with Matthew. Let us strive to make him immortal in our memories and in our hearts. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Doug Davis. little less than 2 years ago, we got a call from Josh Carr saying that there was a guy in South Pacific that was just barely moving into the area, and the show was closing, and the guy was going to need a job, and did we have anything for him? We asked about his credentials, and we agreed to meet with him. And upon meeting him, 10 minutes later, we had a music director for Spamalot, and we also had a very, very dear friend. It is his gentle nature, his sense of humor, his work ethic, his talent, which is it could only be described as God-given, is going to be greatly and dearly missed. He coined a phrase. He was working with a bunch of high school kids. And Randy and I use this to death. The piece was particularly difficult, and this poor girl in the front row was just having such a difficult time. And Matt saw that she was having a difficult time, but plowed through because he was a rehearsaholic. And this girl just kind of like slumped into her chair. She raised her hand. She said, "Mr. Matt, theater's hard." And Matt was telling me, and I said, "So what did you say to her?" He said, "Well, my first inclination was just to laugh right at her." And he said to her, "Yes, it is, but won't you be glad when you finally get it?" Always positive. That is something that I will always remember about him and hope to apply into my own life. Thank you.
I used to call Matty mashed potatoes because he went with everything. And I will prove it right now. Jen, can I get the house lights up? Look around at all of the diverse theater people in this room tonight. We were all touched by this wonderful, wonderful young man. My fondest memory of Matt was last Christmas. Thanks, Jen. They're all looking at me like, turn the lights up, turn the lights up. Last October, I said, "Matt, you are so freaking talented. I want you to do a cabaret show for us at the Broadway Theater." And he says, "Oh, I've always wanted to do one of those." And I said, "Okay." I says, "I want you to come up with something." I says, "What do you need? A couple of weeks just to come up with the format?" He says, "Yeah, just give me a couple of weeks." 2 weeks later, he came in with a 90-minute show done. And it was called A Cozy Christmas Cabaret. And in that, I can't remember the name of the song. It's been driving me crazy. I loved it. Maybe somebody in this room can remember. He used Manny's accordion in it. He played the accordion and then put it down quickly and went to the piano. Then picked up the piano and put the accordion down. It was one of the funniest shows, and he was just a versatile Renaissance man. I'm not really good at writing stuff down. I just like to tell stories, but I did write a little thing I want to read to you, if I may, just really quick, for Matt. He touched mine and Doug's lives so much. He worked 5 or 6 shows with us, and he always loved the expression. I said, "Please come play with us anytime you want." He goes, "Because that's what it is working with you two. It's like playtime." And he just epitomized that to me. How do I say this? Where do I start? Everything still hurts, especially my heart. It's hard to accept I won't see you anymore until, of course, my time comes and I walk through God's door. I hope the angels love your smirk and humor oh so wry. I hope they appreciate the boyish glint that always twinkled in your eye. I hope you're happy and at peace up above and can feel tonight our friendship, but most of all our love. We miss and love you deeply, and when we look up in the sky, we know we'll see you later, Maddie, so this is not goodbye. As for me, I feel better as I think of you on high, entertaining heaven one downbeat at a time.
Now you're on your own, only me beside you, still you're not alone. No one is alone, truly no one is alone. what's right, you decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side, someone else is not. While we're seeing our side, maybe we forgot they are not alone. No one is alone. Hard to see the light now, just don't let it go. Things will turn out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
Let me make this clear. I'm not a theater person. My name is Linda Marr, and I was lucky because I got to live with Matt the last 13 months. He rented a room in our house, and although I really liked him immediately when I met him, we were complete strangers when he moved in. Shortly after he moved in, Matt got violently ill with stomach flu. This is my daughter. I was a nursemaid to him, which I didn't mind at all, because my own son had moved out, and he still repels any kind of mothering. Matt was very appreciative of the things I did for him, and he even gave me a $15 Starbucks card. So after that, we of course were closer. We were more like family than friends. I'm 60 years old, and Matt was 30, but we actually did things together. Our regular thing was to go to Matilda's Mouse antique store in Valley Center once a month on a Friday at 12:30 in between his classes. We had plans to go to Canterbury Gardens soon, and later in the summer when it was really hot, we would take walks together at 9 o'clock at night frequently. We were supposed to watch a Netflix movie. The night he was in the accident, sometimes when I couldn't sleep, he would come home late and he would watch my favorite show with me, Frasier. We visited each other's churches, and on occasion we would ask each other for prayer. There was no small talk with Matt. He was opinionated, and he told me once that he always took the contrary view of a matter just to balance things out. I soon realized what great taste he had. His clothes had a casual, dapper look with a British flavor. He would do laundry once a week and fit everything in one load, no matter how many things there were. I don't think they ever really got cleaned. He had lots of clothes, but I observed that he didn't have any whites, sweatshirts, or camouflage. And then there was his room. It started out with a bed, a desk, and a folding chair. I'll never forget, after he completely moved in, I walked in his room. It was so interesting and full of stuff and tasteful. He moved the bed diagonally to the door. He purchased a wingback chair with pillows and a throw. He had his piano and his music stand and a table at the end of the bed, and an exotic small red table he couldn't wait to show me that he got at the thrift store. And he had 1 million books. He had so many books. I had this 7-foot shelf that I had to put up myself. and it was totally filled with books, and just a few weeks ago it came crashing down. Luckily, he wasn't in bed. One of the last books he was reading was called The Trial and Death of Socrates by Plato. Who hasn't read that? Jesus Calling was always at his bedside. And there was a book, I can't remember exactly the name, it was like 1,000 Irish songs to be played by an accordion. There's nothing I'd rather do than decorate. So Matt became my go-to consultant about everything I wanted to change. He could tell me about the nuances of each color, even though they were all red. And to tell me why certain types of furniture didn't or did work. My latest and biggest endeavor was to put double French interior doors in the family room. Even though the other two doors in the room are white, he said to definitely paint them red. He said I have to do it and that it would look incredible. So I did it. When I finished painting them and bringing them into the house, I took pictures and sent them to Matt on his phone. But that was during a matinee here of Oklahoma, so I thought he wouldn't see them for about 2 hours. Immediately, he texts me back, "I love it, do you?" I wrote back, "Stop texting on stage." And he said,
my name is Sue Gilson. I'm the owner of Georgia's School of Dance, and Matthew taught musical theater for us. And I'm also a faculty member at Palomar College. And I kept telling the college, you need to hire this gentleman to do cabaret with us. And they kept going, we don't need anybody, we'll find somebody. And I'm going, he's incredible, you've got to hire him. And I'm standing at rehearsal one day, and in walks Matt. And I went, what are you doing here? And he goes, and went up and sat down at the piano and started playing. So we worked on a couple other community projects together. I want to tell you a little story how I met Matt. Emmanuel Young calls me during South Pacific, goes, there's this great new guy here, you gotta hire him. And I go, to do what? He says he plays piano. I said, I don't need a pianist right now. He said, just call him. So I called Matt and I explained to him, you know what, I really don't need a pianist, but I would love to meet you. I said, but you know what I really need is a musical theater teacher. And he started laughing. And I'm going, okay, what's so funny? And he said, that's what my master's degree in. I got it in London. We talked for about a half hour. Came into the studio, I hired him on the spot, and it's the best thing that could have happened to us. He became part of our studio family. In fact, we have some of the students here tonight that were part of his family. Matthew's passion and dedication for teaching and helping students pursue their love and his for musical theater will be his legacy. We will always miss his smiling face at the studio. Georgia School of Dance and Palomar College both benefited from this incredible individual. We extend our heartfelt sympathy to his family and friends, and we love him.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, His constant friend is He. His and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. Oh, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. Oh, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me.
Hi everybody. I'm super sad I can't be there today, but I want to say I'm super grateful for the opportunity to talk to you all via video. I just want to say how much I love Matt. I love him dearly. He's one of my best friends, one of my dearest friends, and I miss him so much, and I'm sure all of you miss him as well. And I just want to say that he was one of the most wonderful, funny, amazing human beings I've ever met, and he always made my day better. He always made me laugh until I had tears coming out of my eyes. He always found the right time to punch me in the crotch before I went out on stage. One of the funniest things he ever did to me was, I remember one time I went to surf and I had all my gear out there, and he completely convinced me that we had a show that afternoon. I freaked out. I only would have had 15 minutes to be there, and I gathered all my stuff up. I ran up the stairs and got all my stuff out, got in my car just to have him freaking call me over and over. I'm like, what, Matt, what? Like, I'm on my way. He's like, Jen's so pissed, and I was so freaking out. And then he just started laughing. He was laughing on the phone. I said, I'm just messing with you, man. Like, I had barely known the guy yet. And it was one of the best things, like, ever. And I want to tell Matt right now, wherever you are, that was me who put the black makeup in your hat so it would get all over your face during the show. I'm not going to say what show, because if I told you it was Mary Poppins and it was Steve Blondini's show, he'd probably be really pissed. So, sorry about that. And I just want to say that I love you, Matt, and I miss you, and I'll always miss you and love you. And you made me so happy so many times. And I think you were taken from us too short, but the time you did spend here on Earth with us was freaking phenomenal, and you touched so many people's lives. And I'm so proud of you for being brave and who you were. And I know you were struggling with so much, and we talk about it many times, but you you were inspiring to me, and I just want you and everyone to know that I love you very much, and that everybody who's here loves you, and it's amazing, amazing, amazing to me to see how many people's lives you touched. And I want to tell your parents how much you meant to me and so many of your friends, and I'll never forget you. I love you.
That gave our precious Matthew a place to live. Was it Lisa? Linda. You need to be in show business. You are so funny. I thought, I'm so glad I'm not following you. You're funny. Okay. I don't public speak very well. My husband's going, oh, good. I really don't. But for Maddie, I would literally walk across broken glass with no shoes on. I would do it. And that's actually what public speaking feels like to me. So here we go. One night, a man had a dream. He dreamt he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and one belonging to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. He noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only one set of footprints. He had also noticed that it had happened at the very lowest and very saddest times in his life. This really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most troublesome, down times in my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my precious, precious child, I love you, and I would never leave you. During your times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. I had to read that because that's a conversation that Matt and I had a lot. And I found that and I thought, that's him in a nutshell. As a believer, he lived his life always smiling, knowing that God had him. And when I first met him doing company at Signet, he walked in the room and I thought, oh dear Lord, don't let that be my Paul. He's like 5 years old. And he came to sit next to me and he said, I think you're my Amy. And I thought, oh dear Lord. Woo! Okay, that's all right. Anyway, we started talking about God. You all know, you that know me know I'm a believer. I'm a God person. I don't hit anyone over the head with it. But if you ask me, I am a God person. And he was. And from that moment on, he became my little spiritual brother. And he would say certain things. You all know this face. He'd say, what? And of course, I'm so short. He goes like this. Well, so innocent. His face was so innocent. And I would grab his face with my hands like this. And I'd go, Maddie, you're so cute. So we get to our costume fittings for the show. And he walks out. Those of you who saw Company, he walks out in the most fabulous, because it was just so awful and perfect, 1970s powder blue tux. And he, of course, we all know he's a fashion blazer. He's like this. Never said anything. He was like, oh my gosh, how does this look? I said, you make everything look good. You're like a hanger. You make everything look good. However, what I was really thinking was, great. He looks like he's going to a junior prom, and I now look 10 years older. So from that day on, I called him my fetus in a tux. And he would laugh at me. He always laughed at me. Never with me. No, he laughed at me. So that age thing kept going. I remember some dear friends came to the show. He couldn't wait. It's another one of these moments. Sister, just call me sister. Sister? And I'm like, this is really important news. I want to hear this. He's all, my friends came to see the show, and guess what? They said that you didn't look too much older than me. And I went, oh, Maddie, little face in my hands. God, we had a good time. We messed up. We were awful backstage. And he went along with me. When I first met him, I said, I like to play. I don't like to do things backstage. And little did I know that he did all this stuff. Please, makes me look like an angel. I thought he was going to leave Signet just learning awful things from me, but I probably could have learned some stuff from him with your stories there. So anyway, we had a wonderful time. We would grab each other's hands and we'd say, it's magic time, and we'd go on stage every night. So, okay, got through that part. Okay, I went on Facebook a couple days ago and I asked people just to write a word that they think of when they think of Maddie. These are just some. Gentle, kind, sweet, friend, charming, full of life, big-hearted, encouraging, one of my best friends. That was from Sean. Generous, warm-hearted, humble, happy, genuine, entertaining, sunshine, pure-hearted. And someone just wrote, I miss him so much, which I thought was so precious. Uplifting, truly inspiring, accepting, kind, funny, joyful, helpful, talented, pure of heart, light, spirit-filled. Very quickly. This is from someone who couldn't be here, one of Matthew's best friends. I think when I read it, you're going to know who it's from. And this sweet person, I just want you to know, wrote, please don't tell anyone this is from me, because I want them to concentrate on the words and who Matthew was, and not who wrote it. It's precious. It's called My Dear Friend. My dear friend could make me cry, from fits of laughter with tears in my eyes. He filled my heart with love and joy. He filled my soul, this dear, sweet boy. To know him was to love him. To love him was to know the kindest, sweetest friend the world could ever know. And now my friend has left me. He never said goodbye. I miss him every day and with every starry night. I'll miss our walks, his smile, our talks, the way he'd play and sing. I'll miss the way he seemed to make everything okay. My dear friend, I love you, and I hope you'll always know. I will always take a part of you everywhere I go. I'll keep you in my memory. I never will forget the special light you were in my life, my dear, sweet friend. And I am just going to leave y'all with this. I found this on the internet, and I thought, this is Matthew. People will forget what you did. People will forget what you said. But people will not forget the way you made them feel. We love you, Matthew.
Tomorrow morning if you wake up and the sun does not appear, I will be here. If in the dark we lose sight of love, hold my hand and have no fear. 'Cause I will be here. I will be here when you feel like being quiet, when you need to speak your mind. I will sing, and I will be here when the laughter turns to crying, through the winning, losing and trying, we'll be together, 'cause I will be here. Tomorrow morning if you wake up and the future is unclear, I will be here. As sure as seasons are made for change, our lifetimes are made for these years. So I will be here. I will be here so you can cry upon my shoulder when the mirror tells us we're older. I will hold you. I will be here to watch you grow in beauty and tell you all the things you mean to me. I will be here. I will be true to the promise I have made to you and to the one who gave you to me. Just as sure as seasons are made for change, our lifetimes are made for these years. And will be together. 'Cause I will be here. Oh, I will be
Everybody, I'm Dan Mojica. I was Mass Director in Oklahoma. Hey Jen, can you keep the house lights up? Are they up? I think so. Anyway, this is going to be short and sweet. A few things. Matt used to do this. And put this here in Oklahoma. He was one of our Oklahoma 16, what I deemed the cast. 16 of them, okay? 15 are here now. 16 is here. I'll show you something. Over here, this is his. It has stayed on our stage since he decided to go to his next chapter in life, okay? I want to invite our cast of Oklahoma up here. You know, one of the most beautiful things that I find being here tonight is not just how we touch people's lives, but how much he has given each of us. He's given us so much. What a beautiful soul. What a beautiful man, a talented man. So giving, you you know? You know, he not only touched my heart, but I know he's touched every single one in this room. And the coolest thing is that he's right here. He's right here. You know, this was his nemesis. I made him do this. He hated it. So, this being his last theater home, if you've been in the theater before, the spirit of somebody always stays, and this is going to be his home forever. You know, and our cast each wanted to say a little something, so I'm going to pass the rope down so they can say something. All right?
One of my favorite memories of Matt, well, first of all, like people have been saying, he always had a sparkle in his eye. And one of my favorite memories of him is during Oklahoma, when I'd be exiting the stage and he'd be right next to me. I'd be staring at Curly, checking him out, and he'd be like, "All right, Miss Gertie, you best be putting your eyes back in your head where they belong now." It would make me laugh every night.
Some of my favorite memories were those first few days of rehearsal, sitting on a big brown couch in a dance studio and just getting to know him. And on one of his last days, I texted him, "You're really missed over here. We really miss you over here." And I just got a MUAH and a little happy face. And it made my day.
I had a lot of moments on stage with Matthew, and I always really looked forward to all of them. He was such a kind, gentle, sweet, he just always made me smile, and I can't pick a specific one because every time I was with him on stage, it meant so much to me.
This is where I would stand to sing part of the song because I'm a midget. And Matt would be right next to me, and I realized I was crushing his hand, crushing it, and I wouldn't let it go because he knew how scared I was of lyrics. I'm going to go up on the lyric, I know I am. I'm going to go, I go, "Oh my God, Matt." I said, "I'm holding onto your hand like I'm giving birth." I said, "I'm so sorry." He goes, "It's okay, it's a boy."
Matt gave me one of my all-time favorite on-stage memories ever. He would always carry my hamper out at the beginning of Act 2 for the box social, gentleman that he was. And backstage, before we'd go out, he'd always say, "So, what have you got in your hamper today?" And I'd say, like, puppies, or my pet porcupine, or like a pumpkin scone, or something like that. And then after Farmer and the Cowman, he'd lean into me and start flirting, and it'd be like, "I know what you got in your hamper. Hope I don't get poked," or something creepy about whatever happened to be in my hamper that day.
Me and Matt made our first entrance together every night on the stage, and we would kind of hang out together, stretch together, and then we would do a bro hug. And if any of you know me or him, we are not the bro type. And we laugh at each other because it was so silly, but I still do that bro hug every night.
I had a lot of moments on stage with Matt, but my favorite were off stage. Him and I would be alone in the green room a lot, waiting to come on, and we would just talk about life and everything, and he became like one of my really good friends during the run of the show, so I appreciate that.
Matt told me a really funny thing, that we have these things that we think we hear backstage while everybody's on stage. That's not what they say, but that's what we hear. John Heller says, "Let's get these hampers under the trees where it's cool." And Matt and I would hear, "Let's get these hamsters under the trees." Well, there was this bit during the auction, and after it was said, Matt and I would always exchange glances. I'd be standing on the haystacks over here, and Matt would be right about where Dylan is now. And Judd would be all mean and brooding, and he'd say, "I guess I'm just as reckless as Curly McLean." And Matt and I would look at each other because we heard, "Well, I guess I'm just as reckless as Shirley MacLaine." that moment, we look at each other and try really hard not to laugh. And it's a little easier not to laugh now.
One of my favorite moments on stage with Matt was right after the auction scene where he broke up Curly and Jed and got them to shake hands, and then he'd come over to me and Dylan and he'd say, "Reckon I just saved the party." Skidmore, you and your moonshine. How much moonshine you been drinking?
I sit next to Matt in the dressing room, and we would often talk about different musicals that we love and different pieces of music that we love. We often just, went on and on about music, and anybody who knows me knows that I love the Phantom of the Opera, the musical, but I absolutely hate the sequel, Love Never Dies, and it's awful. And he said, "I agree, the plot line is awful, but the ballads are gorgeous." And I was skeptical. I was like, and when I heard that he passed, I went home and I listened to the song "Love Never Dies," and it's just, the lyrics were really beautiful, and it was a very important moment for me. I always loved him and his music, and I appreciate that he was always there to talk to me about it.
I was lucky enough to share a dressing room with Matt, and one of my favorite memories with him is when my friend Emily showed me this app called French Girls, which basically lets you take selfies of yourself, and somebody out there will draw a picture of that selfie, and for a period of time, the show, I would go to everybody in the show and get selfies of everybody, and people would draw them. And Matt got super, super excited about this, and he took so many selfies, and nobody would draw them. And every single day he would check in, has somebody drawn me yet? And he'd be like, "No, And then finally, after weeks of selfies, somebody drew Matt, and they drew him as a cowboy badger. And out of every selfie I took, it got the most likes. And he finally got his selfie. It was a great memory.
I first saw Matt when he was in company with Eileen, and he just made you love him so instantly on stage. You all know what I'm talking about. But he made you love him so instantly on stage too. And I got to work with him in A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. He musical directed, and then in this show we saw each other. We're like, hey, we know each other, and bonded over our great dance skills. He got way better than I'll ever be. But my fondest memory of him, I would be standing right over there all by my lonesome during the end of the auction. He'd walk on over, stumble on over to me, see he was the town drunk, and ask how much moonshine I wanted. And I'd always reject it, and he'd, I don't know, he'd just have nonsense talk. And it just means so much now looking back on it.
So it's kind of ironic that we're passing this around because this was the bane of Matthew's existence during the show. I remember the first rehearsal, they handed us these, and the look on his face in particular, you would have thought that they had just handed him I don't know, a bear or something. He was so afraid of it, but I think my favorite part about him was just his drive, because, and everyone who knows Matthew knows that he's not all that confident when it comes to his dancing abilities. And every single break we got during rehearsals, as soon as we would get put on break, he'd be like, Andrew, can I get that on video so that I can watch it? And he videoed basically the entire show so that he could go home and practice it, and that it was just that spoke volumes to me about who he was, because it was, even though he was beyond amazing in everything he did, he was always striving to be better. And so that's what I'm going to take back.
I didn't spend much time with Matt on stage, so I spent most of my time being mean and brooding, like Chris said. And I went kind of weird and method during rehearsals and kept to myself, because I'm really outgoing normally, but I do have a distinct memory of Matt.
I'm a really weird Southern California person because I don't own a car. And Matt was kind enough to agree to go see a show with me down in La Jolla one night because I didn't have a way to get down there. And I got the pleasure of spending 45 minutes in a car with this beautiful individual. And it's crazy how in 45 minutes I could see everything that everyone here tonight has said about this individual in that short amount of time. And it will stick with me that though I only knew him for a short amount of time, that he made that kind of impression on me too. And I'm kind of a hard person to reach a lot of times, and he managed to do it.
Hearing all these things, I really feel like, well, about halfway through the process of the show, I hadn't really made a connection with Matt yet, a real connection. And I remember wandering backstage in the green room. We had some downtime or something, and we kind of bumped into each other. And we looked at each other for a second, and he smiled, how Matt smiles, and he said, "I've heard about you." And I said, "I've heard about you too." And he said, "You're a musical director?" "Yes." I said, "You're a musical director?" He said, "Yes." He said, "You play piano?" "Yeah." I said, "You play piano?" And I said, "I feel a connection." And he said, "I do too." And then I said, "Are you an Aquarius?" He said, "I'm an Aquarius." And flashing forward a few weeks, I remember, because we never hung out, and it's so funny to hear all the things that we had in common. And I decided I wanted to go to sushi, and I wanted everyone to come. I had this sushi place, and Matt kind of said maybe, because he never said maybe he would. He was always too busy every time. And this time he said, well, maybe. So I got everyone who was coming. I said, text Matt, make sure he comes. And he didn't show up for a long time, but man, when he finally came through the door, I was so excited that he was there with us. He sat at the other end of the table, and I didn't really get to talk to him, but I do remember looking down every now and then to check in with him to see if he's cool, and I think he was across from you, Nicole. And I just remember he was smiling and laughing and having a good time, and that's all that mattered to me, so that was fun.
And I think you all agree is that tonight we celebrate that.
Yes.
We absolutely celebrate this guy. As a little tribute, the Cats of Oklahoma is going to do the title number. And just imagine that he is here, and I know you will see him. Go.
We're missing something. It's at the end. Just kidding. We're not missing anything. I'm not embarrassed.
It ain't too early and it ain't too late.
Starting as a farmer with a brand new wife.
Soon be living in a brand new state. Brand new state. Gonna treat you great. Gonna give you barley, carrots and potatoes. Pasture for the cattle, spinach and tomatoes.
Flowers on the prairie where the June bugs zoom.
Plenty of air and plenty of room. Plenty of room to swing.
Plenty of art and plenty of hope.
Oh, the polo where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. Oh, the polo every night, my honey lamb and I sat alone and talk and watch a hawk making lazy circles in the sky. We know we belong to the land, and the land we belong to is grand. And when we say, cow, rocket fire, we aim, we're only saying you're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, okay. Oh,
coming out tonight. It means so much. We all are here for a reason. We love Matthew. He changed a lot of lives. I'm so amazed to hear the same thing from so many different people. Hey, I got this guy. He's great. He can do this. You know, if you need a musical director, if you need this, if you need that, that's awesome. Matthew was a huge part of our lives, I know. Let's remember him in love, remember him with energy, and celebrate his life. We invite you to go out to the lobby now. Let's go in peace. Let's remember to love each other. Let's remember to support each other, praise each other, and take care of each other. Go in peace.
The roses aren't as pretty, the sun isn't quite as high, the birds don't sing as sweet of a lullaby. The stars seem a little bit faded, the clouds just a little more gray, and it feels like things won't ever be the same. Heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better the day it took you away from me. I'm missing you tonight. I'll see you again sometime. For now I'll close my eyes and dream of heaven tonight. The beaches aren't as lovely, the sky isn't quite as blue, still they're sweetened by the memory of you. The rain is a little bit colder, the fire is never quite as warm, still it seems that heaven isn't all that far. Heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better the day it took you away from me. I'm missing you tonight. I'll see you again sometime. For now I'll close my eyes and dream of heaven tonight. Spending a little more time now with the things that mean a little bit more. I'm noticing the wonders of this world. I love with a little more hope now. I live with a little more peace, 'cause I understand how precious life can be. Oh, heaven got another angel tonight. You left this world behind. Heaven got a little better